Welcome back to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and I'm here to continue my Isaac Asimov deep dive, reading everything I can get my hands on by Isaac Asimov in order of publication. And I've been mostly mining his collection of all of his early work titled The Early Asimov, which is where I read the latest one, number 12, in this bibliography I have. It's a short story published in March of 1941 in a new magazine edited by Donald Wollheim called Cosmic Stories. This story was rejected by both John Campbell and Frederick Pohl, and Wollheim was one of the Futurians with Asimov and a lot of the other Asimov and Pohl and Kornbluth and a lot of the other early science fiction authors at this time in the New York City area. And so he went to all of his Futurian friends, can you hand over stories so that I can start off this magazine called Cosmic Stories? And so Asimov did send him this one, which had been rejected by everyone else. And that, well, I mean, Wollheim, I believe, was not paying anybody for these stories. He was just begging for stories so that he could get this started. And so Asimov did not send him, and I don't think any of the other authors that appeared in that first issue sent them stories which would have sold elsewhere. I think they all sent in stories that they just couldn't get rid of. And so, hey, here's an opportunity to get this story in print. But talking about it that way, it makes it sound like this story is total crap, which it really isn't. It's not bad. Give you the synopsis. An Earthman is teasing a Martian about the senses the Martian can ever experience. Apparently, Martians are colorblind, and there are other senses that Earthmen have that Martians just don't have. And the Martian can never experience them. And the Martian he's kind of pissed off at this Earthman's attitude, but he just retorts with, since I cannot experience them, I cannot ever care about what I'm missing because I can't know what I'm missing. And therefore, it can never have any importance to him. But Martians have senses that Earthmen don't have. And in addition, Martians have this capability of being able to let somebody experience a particular sense for 5 minutes. Once the 5 minutes are up, whatever cells are activated to allow them to experience this die and can never be revived. So they can never experience this ever again. They only get 5 minutes of seeing things through the Martian's sense, and then they lose it for the rest of their life without any way of restoring it. The Earthman, of course, says, I want to do this. Bad idea. I'll stop at that. I don't think this is a top tale, but I don't think it should have been rejected by everybody. It really was. It was making a good point, again, about prejudice and how we reject people because they're different, how we reject people because they don't know what we know, kind of thing. How we reject people for having different capabilities from us. And, so once again, Asimov is cleverly sneaking in these messages against prejudice and against discrimination towards people who are different, which I think really redeems the story. I mean, it's not a great story. The characters are just okay. The writing is okay. It's nothing, he's no J.G. Ballard or even Ray Bradbury in his writing style. He never, through his entire career, he never tries to become a real wordsmith. He writes in a very matter-of-fact, straightforward style that seems styleless. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just sometimes that style really enhances a story. But you don't get that from Asimov. Who should read the story? I think, first of all, you have to have an interest and a tolerance for how science fiction stories written in the 1940s were different from the type of stories that you get today. You have to have a tolerance for the emphasis on idea over other literary qualities in the story, which is really quite unique to science fiction and makes it into, in my opinion, it makes science fiction into a literary form that is not like any other literature. It makes it unique, and in making it unique makes it valuable within the confines of what science fiction was in 1941. This is a pretty darn good story. Not great, but good, worth reading. And so I do recommend it for those of you who have an interest in Asimov and have a liking for the older science fiction short stories. I think this may be one that you'll like quite well. And so you should check it out. The early Asimov, or if you can get a hold of Cosmic Stories, March 1941. I know there's PDFs online of this magazine, so you could get it there. If you can get a hold of the actual issue, wow, cool. If it's in good shape, do it. But otherwise, that's The Secret Sense. And moving on to number 12, or that was number 12. Moving on to number 13 by Isaac Asimov is a story called Heredity. I hope you'll join me for that. If you have comments about The Secret Sense, please leave them in the comment section of the video for everyone to see. If you just have general comments about Asimov himself, again, leave those in the comments section. We'd all like to hear about it. And come on back for Heredity and all the other Asimov coming up. There's some really great ones coming up. The second of his robot stories and the one where he really gets into his robots is titled Reason. That's coming after Heredity, and then Liar, which is another robot story, and then comes Nightfall. I mean, actually, we've already reviewed Nightfall. I'm not sure if I want to revisit it. I might, because the last time I read it, which was for our video review, I had some issues with it that I mentioned, and it was pretty harsh, and I think I might give it a reevaluation and do a new video. We'll see. But those are all coming up. I hope you'll join us for those. And till then, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out our Etsy store. Check out our Pango bookstore. And pick up some nice handmade items from the Etsy store or antique books from the Etsy store and newer, nice condition books in Pango books. We're not supposed to be putting those in Etsy, which is why we started that up. And that money helps us to keep doing this and keep moving toward our goal of becoming a publisher of some really, really kick-ass special edition classics. They might be science fiction, they might be regular literature, who knows what we'll start off with. But that's our goal, and we need money to do it, and buying from those sources will help us. We also have a website with a lot of information about the authors that I talk about, with those bibliographies I talk about. That's where those are recorded. You can see there what I've read so far, which ones have top tales. There's a lot of other authors in there that we haven't gotten to yet. We want to get to those authors and talk about their works also, maybe not a deep dive everything they've ever written, but we want to at least touch on the major works that they've done. And that list of authors is where we are going to be pulling those choices from, mostly. So they're all in there. They're in the Telltale Books website, telltalebooks.com. So come on back. I'm going to be here doing these.